Hi everyone, welcome to Northern Zen Yoga. My name is Sandra, and today we are going to be talking about a part of our body which we try to hide and we try to wish away and we try to fix it and we try to paint it and we do all kinds of things to it in order to make it appear more attractive when we often think it's the ugliest part of our body. And that, my dears, is our feet. The reason why our feet are so important in yoga is because they are the foundation of most of the standing poses. If you're doing sitting poses, sitting on your sits bones, your feet are just there to help maybe push or pull the stretch in the leg. But when you're in a standing pose, the feet are your foundation. They are your stability. If you're in a balancing pose, they are crucial to keeping you from falling over. The foot is a really complicated little piece of machinery. It is complexly made of all kinds of bones and muscles and tendons and pulleys that help us to flex our feet, open our toes up, and turn our foot and curl it and have it do all kinds of interesting movements. We really take the feet for granted, and it's too bad because this is such an important part of how we stand, how we walk, how we get around. And when your feet start to hurt, you'll know that you'll wish you'd taken better care of them. But what do? Especially as ladies. Men, not so much. Men are much more sensible about the things that they wrap their feet in. We put our feet into pointy, tight, high heel shoes. We quite often wear shoes that are not fitting properly because the ones that fit properly and feel the most comfortable are either grandma shoes or running shoes. And most of the time it doesn't look that great in an evening gown to be wearing either of those. Or when you dress up to go out with friends, you want to look fashionable. And so fashion dictates that we wear these torture chambers called shoes on our feet, and we do terrible things to our feet. So I already have a video out about how to exercise your feet, how to move them around and get them loosened up for your practice. But let's just go over a couple of basic things. So I'm showing you my feet. As ugly and as funny looking as they might be, I have varicose veins running into my feet. I don't know, you can see those very well at the camera. I have a bunion forming on this side from a damaged toe that I did when I was in my early 30s, late 20s. I can't remember now, it was a long time ago. And I never got it fixed, so it kind of did weird things. And then later on, I got an operation on it, which never really did much more than just cause me some pain for several weeks. So it wasn't until I started practicing yoga that I actually got this toe moving, this big toe. But as a result, I've got a bit of a deformation in my toe joint. Now, you may have similar things. You may have bunions forming at the sides of your feet. You may have feet that have curled in. I have a curled in foot here on the sides. That's from wearing shoes that were a little bit too tight across the foot. But my feet adapted. Probably started when I was very young wearing shoes that I should have had a wider foot in the shoe. But my feet molded themselves to fit into what was forced to fit into. And your feet may look exactly the same. But it doesn't mean you will never be able to stand firmly on the ground. It's quite possible. And I'm going to show you a few things that you can do to help you get there. But the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure whenever you do yoga that you're in bare feet. Why? Because the yoga mat, no matter what mat you get, is going to have a little bit of slippage in it. Even if your feet are very dry, you might slip on the mat. But having socks on is a guarantee that your feet are going to slide on the mat. And when you're in a posture where you need to have yourself maybe with a little twist and you've got your legs apart, the last thing you want to have happen is all of a sudden your feet start to go in different directions from each other, and you'll either end up falling or hurting yourself. And so we don't want that to happen. Besides, we need to be able to spread our feet out. We need to be able to get a firm plant on the ground, on the mat, on anything that you're standing on, no matter where you are, even within your shoes. We need to find a way to stretch out those feet to get the firmest plant we can get in order to have the most stability. Stability is so important as we get older because falling down can be disastrous to our health. So, I'm going to stand up. You're not going to see me anymore. You're going to see just my feet. And I'm going to give you a few things you do in order to get a good plant. Now, in yoga, we call the foot plant, when we put our feet down and we spread our toes out and we get a good stable posture on the mat, we call it Pada Bandha. It's a foot lock. So we're not crunching up the feet. As a matter of fact, we're doing much the opposite. We're spreading out the foot as much as we can to get ourselves on the surface and take up as much surface as our feet are able to. So I'm going to stand up, see you in a little bit, and we're going to look at my feet. So here we have our normal stance. I'm thinking if I'm standing on this mat, this lump thing happening every time I do that is going to get in the way. So I'm going to come here and hopefully my feet don't blend in too much. And I'm going to lift my toes up. So this might be the first exercise you just need to work on, is crunching your feet up and lifting your toes up. Discover what happens when you do that, when you crunch your feet up and when you lift your toes up. Notice how you have to reestablish your center of gravity. Crunch your toes up, feel yourself kind of be pulling forward. So we establish our center of gravity, then we lift our toes up and you'll feel yourself move back, rock back a little bit. So you need to reestablish your center of balance. So it's very important, and I'm just going to come down to my knees for a second, that when you're standing, that you engage the muscles here and the muscles back here and the muscles here. So strengthening up the legs. When you hear the yoga instructor say, strengthen up the legs, that's what she's talking about. Engaging muscles. So let's engage those muscles. We're going to widen out the toes, spread them out, lifting them up, and then we're going to plant them down into the ground, and we're going to strengthen up all the muscles in our torso and in our legs, and we're going to strengthen up the calves and press into the heels. So you'll notice that you'll feel all the muscles in your legs tighten up. This is a foot plant. When everything is locked up from your feet up to your hips, you know you've got a good foot plant. And the one that we use the most to use this is in the standing poses, especially the warrior poses. We have our feet often in opposition to each other so that one foot is farther back than the other, and we're always looking for that foot plant. So just to get yourself orientated, you lift your toes, plant your toes down, press into the heel for the foot lock. In the back foot, we're pressing the heel back just a little further, and it's not a big angle. It's not too wide, or else you might throw yourself off again. But you want to be careful you're not doing a sideways plant that's parallel to the back of your mat. We used to teach that, and it twists the lower spine a little bit too much. So the Yoga Alliance has changed the rules on that. They want you to push your heel back as comfortable as possible. It could be a fraction, it could be a lot depending on how your ankle feels. And we're going to focus more on the front foot, planting it down and pushing the knee over to the side so that we're not caving in. Now the back foot you have to make sure you're not coming up or riding over or rolling over on your foot. You want to make sure most of your foot is making contact with the mat. This is very important. So here I am, Warrior Two. You can't see the top half of me, but if you were reaching out with your arms and you're pushing your knee over to the side, trying to keep it stable, pushing your heel back just slightly further than your toes, then you're going to feel very, very strong here. Remember, this part of your body is still engaged. We're still tightening up the thigh muscle to help support the knee so it doesn't hang in, and we're tightening up everything from the bum down to the heel and pushing the toes into the floor. I'm going to come down, and this is one way you can come down into a sitting pose. Sorry, that wasn't too delicate or too pretty. But, so working with the feet is important. How can we practice this? You can practice this anytime you like. Standing in your kitchen, peeling potatoes. Just stop for a moment, lift the toes up, push the heel down, plant the toes, and try to spread the foot as much as possible. In the beginning, this will not be easy. It will feel uncomfortable. It may even be a little bit, no, I don't want to say painful, but it might not be very comfortable to do this. Trust me, after a while of practicing this, after maybe a few months of practicing it daily, you will suddenly realize that you are doing this automatically, that when you stand, your feet automatically start to plant down and put yourself down firmly onto the ground. So practice the standing pose. Practice, practice, practice. Yoga is about practice. That's why we call it a yoga practice. There is no way we're ever going to be able to be perfect at yoga. Yoga is something that is a journey. So never be discouraged if right off the bat you are not fantastic at it, or you don't look like the pictures that you see in the magazines, or these lovely ladies that you see who have produced a lot of videos out there and can do fantastic acrobatic feats of standing on their head sideways. Who knows what else they have come up with. I don't worry about those things. I worry about keeping the body moving, keeping the joints moving, keeping yourself from being old. Old is a mindset. Remember that. You could be 79 and you could have a body that feels like it's 29. And also too, you know, a lot of you younger ladies, if you're watching this and you're new to yoga, you have to not take for granted that your body is probably already seizing up. I have seen young women who have less flexibility than a lot of the senior ladies that I teach yoga to. So don't take that for granted either, just because you're young, that you're going to stay young and flexible forever, or that you couldn't be more flexible than you are today. So work on those feet. You're at home. Who cares what they look like? And when you go to the yoga studio, I'm going to tell you a secret. Nobody is looking at your feet. They might look at your leotards that you're wearing. They might look at the jacket that you have on, or the t-shirt, whatever it says on the front. They're not looking at your feet. Nobody is. Unless you bring their attention to it by saying you have ugly feet, and then everybody will be looking at them. But when you're at home, you have no excuse. Make sure you have barefoot, planted firmly on your mat. If your mat slides a lot, you might need to think about getting a different kind of mat. There's lots of mats out there that are designed to have less slippage. They have good and bad things about them. When you want to slide things around, they won't slide. But at the other point, if you do want to slide something, it moves a lot easier on some of the mats that we have out here. This one is a not expensive mat that I'm sitting on right now. This one I got at the dollar store, believe it or not. And it's pretty slippery. I have to be very careful. I have to really push into the ground on this one in order to make sure that I don't start to slide. So, work on your feet. The feet are your foundation. They're the foundation of your standing poses. They're the foundation of your balancing poses. Pada Bandha. Hope that helped. Bye for now. Have a fantastic day. And I'll see you in my next live class, which, if you're watching this video, will be on December 17th. December 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the class will be a yin yoga class, so make sure you bring your blankets and pillows and wear some lovely warm clothing like a sweatsuit or your favorite loose cuddly sweater. This time you could wear socks in yin yoga. That's probably the only practice that we wear socks in to keep our feet warm. So if you can, join me. That's December 17th, it's a Thursday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye for now.